This is Edward October, host of OctoberPod on YouTube. Hear that jingle jingle? It could be Kris Kringle, or a home invader looking for an open window, a jilted lover looking for revenge, or a disgruntled coworker hoping to spike your eggnog with arsenic. The girls of our true crime podcast are always on Santa's nice list, but the crimes they discuss are very naughty indeed. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, Cam, how are you?
It is day what?
4. It's 4. We've got day 4. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
4 is a magic number. It's 3, isn't it? 3 is a magic number.
It is 3, the magic number.
Yeah,
but it can be whatever you want.
Thanks.
Are you ready? We're going to start?
Totally ready. Let's go.
All right. Today we're going to be up in Canada.
Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Canada.
Canada. Our friends up north.
Canada.
All right. So today, well, let's just start here. Cody Legebokoff was born on January 21st, 1990. He was raised in Fort St. James, a district municipality characterized by severe, snowy winters and short summers. You'd love it there. Located in the southern shore of Stuart Lake in British Columbia. Cody grew up hunting for grouse and fishing for trout with his family, with whom he had a very close relationship with. Cody was into country music and dirt biking. He played minor hockey and soccer, and he competed on school downhill skiing and snowboarding teams. When he graduated from Fort St. James Secondary School in 2008, Cody spent a brief time living in Lethbridge, Alberta, before moving back to British Columbia and settling in Prince George, which is about 100 miles southeast of Fort James. He worked as a mechanic for a Ford dealership. Cody is presented as a perfectly normal young man, being described by family and friends as popular, friendly, sociable, and kind-hearted, showing no propensity for violence. Cody's grandfather, Roy Goodwin, told Global News in 2011, quote, "Everybody liked him. There wasn't a person that had a bad thing to say about him. Nobody." For these reasons, the residents of Fort St. James were left shocked and in disbelief when, after a routine traffic stop in November of 2010, Cody was found to have committed a brutal murder.
Uh-oh.
The discovery of this murder was just the start and what would eventually lead to Cody Legebokoff being named one of Canada's youngest serial killers. At approximately 9:45 p.m. on November 27th, 2010, RCMP Officer Constable Aaron Keeler observed a black 2004 GMC pickup truck speeding erratically out of a remote logging road near Vanderhoof, BC, into British Columbia Highway 27. Keeler followed the truck for a while before pulling it over for speeding. Keeler found 20-year-old Cody Legebokoff at the wheel with smears of blood on his face and legs. A search of the truck further revealed a bloodied multi-tool and wrench and a monkey backpack containing a phone and identification belonging to Lauren Leslie. When asked about the blood, Cody claimed that he was poaching a deer with a friend, despite no deer carcass being found in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Officers arrested Cody under Canada Wildlife Act, and with the help of a conservation officer with animal tracking skills, they were able to track the truck's tire marks back to the logging road where Cody was seen pulling out of. Here, they found footprints in the freshly fallen snow that led to the partially buried, half-naked body of Lauren Leslie. She died due to blood loss and blunt force trauma to her head. 15-year-old Lauren Dawn Leslie lived with her mom in Vanderhoof, British Columbia. Despite not having the easiest childhood, she was described as a fun and happy childhood who had dreams of becoming a forensic pathologist. Lauren took medication for post-traumatic stress disorder and was legally blind, having 50% vision in one eye and no vision in the other. Due to this, Lauren spent a lot of time online talking with people worldwide. Lauren joined the Canadian social media site Nexopia, with her username being Bath Sheep. Now, this is where she would ultimately meet Cody Legebokoff, where his username was One Country Boy. At trial, Lauren's mom, Donna Leslie, testified that on the evening of November 27th, Laura texted her saying that she was meeting up with a girlfriend. Donna had only asked her that she be home by 1 a.m. Donna then dozed off that evening and was awoken by a phone call from the police informing her that Lauren's body had been found. I can't imagine that phone call. Cody was immediately taken into custody for the murder of Lauren Leslie, where he was arrested and charged with Lauren's murder at 12:07 a.m. Initially, Cody denied any involvement in Lauren's death and stated that he discovered her body accidentally while exploring the area. Over the next few days, Cody changed his story and stated that he had known Lauren after meeting and talking for several weeks on the Canadian social media site, Nexopia. Cody told police that the pair had decided to meet in person, so he drove to Vanderhoof, picked Lauren up from school, then they drank alcohol and had consensual sex. Then he stated that they drove toward Fort St. James, where Lauren said she knew some people, and along the way decided to take a detour to a forest and have sex again. At this point, Cody claimed, Lauren started punching herself and hitting herself with a pipe wrench. Because, that's feasible.
That happens a lot.
She even started stabbing herself in the neck, stating that she hated her mother and wanted to die. What a horrible lie.
Well, and way to you know what I mean?
Hurt the mother.
Yeah.
I mean, Cody then told officers that Lauren got out of the truck and ended up down in the snow, where he dragged her 15 feet before getting back in his truck and driving off. Cody continued to deny any involvement in Lauren's murder. However, after further interrogation by police, he admitted to hitting her over the head, quote, once or twice with a wrench while she was lying on the ground to, quote, put her out of her misery. However, analysis of Cody's phone revealed conversations between himself and Lauren on Nextopia and via text message, where Cody was overtly sexually forward with Lauren, despite her explicitly stating that she did not want to have a sexual relationship with Cody. Searching Cody's home revealed links to several other unsolved murders and a missing person case in the area. Blood found on the couch of his house was proven to belong to 35-year-old mother of 6, Jill Stuchenko. She was last seen on October 9th, 2009, and reported missing by family and friends on October 22nd. Jill's body was found by a hiker on October 26th, half buried in a gravel pit on the outskirts of Prince George. Semen samples taken from Jill's body were a match to Cody Legebokoff, and it's revealed that, as with Lauren Leslie, Jill, who had worked as a sex worker for several years, had died due to blunt force trauma to her head. Blood was found all over Cody's house, in the kitchen, living room, dining room, and hallway, and that blood was found to belong to 39-year-old Natasha Montgomery. Further blood was found on a hoodie, an axe, a bedsheet, and a box spring mattress, which also was positively identified as belonging to Natasha, who was a mother of 2 originally from Quinzel in British Columbia. Natasha, who was from a First Nation family, was last seen leaving a friend's house in Prince George's on either August 31st or the early hours of September 1st in 2010. And she was also reported missing on September 23rd. Natasha's body has never been found. However, she was declared legally deceased in 2012. A picaroon, which is actually a pick, but it's the metal point is it's got a curved bit, I guess. So you can drag, it's made to drag wood logs, and to it's a wood.
A metal hook almost.
It's a metal hook. Yeah, and it's used in logging, because you can drag it and it's easily, you can hit it, put it in the log, you can drag the log, and then you can easily stack. it. Not to be confused with a picaron, which is actually like a Peruvian donut or something like that. But
Look
I
at
digress.
the knowledge you're speaking.
I had to look it up because I didn't know what it was. Picaroon, along with the sock, was found in Cody's truck. And also the sweater Cody was wearing when he was arrested. They all bore blood belonging to 35-year-old Cynthia Moss. Now, she was last seen on September 10th, 2010, and was reported missing on September 23rd. Cynthia's half-naked body was found on October 9th in L.C. Gunn Park in Prince George. Her death having been caused by blunt force trauma to her head. Cynthia was known by her First Nation family as Cinderella, as she was the youngest of all of her siblings, and she was in and out of foster care and pretty much grew up in poverty. Cynthia fell into a lifestyle of drug and alcohol abuse that was common. That's a common struggle in her community. Cynthia was first offered drugs while babysitting a cousin, and eventually Cynthia followed her boyfriend into Edmonton, Alberta, where she fell into an abusive relationship and fell pregnant. Wanting a better life for her child, Cynthia moved back to Fort St. James, and she attended treatment to beat her addiction in Vancouver and Prince George. Unfortunately, her baby was ultimately taken into foster care. On October 17th, 2011, Cody Legebokoff was further charged with 3 counts of murder in relation to Cynthia Moss, Natasha Montgomery, and Jill Stuchenko. Cody's murder trial began June 2nd, 2014, after being postponed twice. There, the Crown told the court that Jill, Cynthia, and Natasha had worked in the sex industry. They stated that Cody was addicted to cocaine and used sex workers to give him access to the drug. During the trial, the Crown would call 93 witnesses, finishing its case on August 1st, 2014. Pathologist Dr. James Stevenson performed an autopsy on Jill Stuchenko on October 29, 2009. On June 17th, he testified at Cody's trial that he found 2 lacerations on Jill's skull, one in the right temple area and one on the back of her head, which had likely been inflicted just before her death. Underneath this laceration, he found a moderate severe skull fracture resulting from the significant force. Jill also had 2 bruises on her head and 3 major brain contusions. He beat her quite good. Dr. Stevens went on to describe multiple bruises found on Jill's leg, thigh, kneecap, calf, and ankle. And when asked how old the bruises were, he explained that they were bright red in color and appeared fresh, meaning they likely occurred around the time of her death. Extensive bruising was noted on Jill's left forearm, consistent with her raising her arms to protect her head from multiple blows. Blood found on Jill's airways and lungs suggested that she had an injury to her jaw, mouth, or neck, and he had also found tearing, which suggested that she had been sexually assaulted. Toxicology reports revealed that Jill was a, quote, chronic user of cocaine and had likely used cocaine within a few hours of her death. That's neither here nor there. Dr. Stephen also performed an autopsy on Cynthia Moss on October 13th, 2010. While Jill's body was fairly well preserved, Cynthia's was extremely decomposed, with the top half of her body being, quote, basically skeletonized. Cynthia's head was also not attached to the top of her spine. At autopsy, Dr. Stevens noted that Cynthia had fractures to her cheekbones and both sides of her lower jawbone, along with a penetrating wound to her right shoulder blade and a broken right collarbone. He also discovered evidence that Cynthia's larynx had been pierced with a sharp object. Cynthia's body bore resemblances of Jill's, with bruising on her forearms, suggesting she defended herself against the attack. Toxicology reports also revealed that Cynthia had used cocaine within several hours of her death, and also marijuana, and along with an antidepressant. On July 14th, Natasha's boyfriend, Brian Goodwin, testified that he'd known Natasha since she was about 12. They began dating when she was 17 or 18, and he was 20. He said they'd been living together in Quesnel with their 2 children until Natasha developed an addiction to cocaine, and the relationship ended. He went on to say that Natasha stayed in close contact with her children, calling them every second day. He testified that about a week after Natasha was released from Prince George Regional Correctional Center, she made contact with him and told him that she wanted to come home. Brian wired Natasha some money for a bus ticket. However, she would go missing only a few weeks later. Now remember, Natasha's body's never been found. Leonard Kinney also testified, stating that he was Jill's fiancé and father of her 2 children. He admitted that he had been convicted of assaulting her twice. However, their relationship was on better terms just before her disappearance. Leonard told the court that he'd last seen Jill about a week and a half before she went missing, stating that she was standing on Queensway. He pulled over, asked her what she was doing, and told the court, quote, "It looked like she was working, but she was waiting for a date or a ride." He said the couple's fights were over her drug habits and because she was working as a sex worker to buy drugs, stating, quote, "I was against drugs and I wanted us to be a family." On August 26th, Cody took the stand in his own defense, showing no remorse or guilt for the murders. He began by describing his childhood and various jobs he worked at Lethbridge before moving to Prince George. He went on to describe his party lifestyle with cocaine and alcohol-fueled parties. He explained that his frequent drug use had progressed from drinking at 12 or 13 while, quote, "pissing around with his friends," smoking marijuana, and taking magic mushrooms, to frequent use of cocaine in early adulthood. Cody went on to testify that while he was present for the murders, he had no physical involvement in them. Of course he didn't. Do they ever, really?
No, never.
It's always somebody else's fault.
It is.
Cody claimed that 3 other men, who he refused to name, and simply referred to them as X, Y, and Z, were the ones that committed all 4 murders that he was accused of. He told the court that he'd had sex with Jill Stuchenko at his apartment and that one of the men, X, who he'd previously gotten cocaine from, told Cody that she, quote, "needed to die," and struck Jill with a pipe. According to Cody, X also ordered Natasha Montgomery's death, with Z pulling out a weapon and X killing her. He went on to explain that X struck Cynthia Moss in the head with an object in his apartment, claiming that he and Y put Cynthia into his truck and drove her to a park. He stated that when Y pulled her out of the truck, she was still alive, so Cody handed Y a picaroon from his truck, which Y used to hit Cynthia a further 3 or 4 times. Now, there's no evidence to suggest that anyone else was involved in the murders, because most likely there wasn't. And on September 11th, 2014, Cody Legebokoff was convicted on all 4 counts of first-degree murder. On September 16th, Cody was sentenced to life in prison with no parole for 25 years. At sentencing, Judge Glenn Parrott, who had resided over the murder trial, stated that he had no doubt that the murders were committed while Cody was sexually assaulting or attempted to sexually assault the women. He detailed Cody's stories of X, Y, and Z as, quote, "a fabrication," and when discussing the visible grief in the witness impact statements, stated, quote, "these are not the actions of a simple killer, but of something infinitely worse." Speaking outside the courthouse, Judy Moss, Cynthia's mother, said, quote, "this verdict is bittersweet. All we wanted in this system was justice. Even though my sister is gone, we will never get her back through this. We will have a sense of justice, that it was first-degree murder, and we are really happy with that." Cody was also added to the National Sex Offender Registry due to his sexual assaults committed as part of the murders. He was originally imprisoned at the maximum security Kent Institution, but was moved to the Walksworth Institution in medium security prison in Ontario in March of 2019. There's a big hullabaloo about that, too.
We're just thinking about that.
Yeah. He should have totally stayed in maximum security. Now, Natasha Montgomery was 5'9", 130 pounds with brown hair and green eyes at the time of her disappearance. While the guilty plea was a relief for her family, they deserve closure and to be able to lay their beloved Natasha to rest. Speaking after the verdict, Natasha's step-grandmother, Marlene Donovan, told reporters, quote, "We will have satisfaction when he lets us know where Natasha is and gives her back to Luann. She needs her daughter back." Natasha's mother, Luann Montgomery, said, quote, "It's not over for me. I still don't have Natasha back, and I want to remind the public to keep an eye out for her remains." So, it goes with saying that if you have any information regarding her disappearance or whereabouts, this is Natasha Montgomery, you're asked to please contact the Prince George RCMP at 1-250-561-3300. She needs to come home to her mom.
Totally.
At
Wow.
20. It
Terrible.
floors me. 20 years old.
Terrible, terrible, terrible.
So that's Cody Legebokoff
Cody Jerk
in Canada.
face.
And he was like, yeah, he's probably the boy we would have had crushes on at school.
Yeah. Wow.
That sweet, seemingly sweet country boy. Yeah. Horrible killer.
And he's not. Well,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Tomorrow
Yep.
we are
So that's day 4.
day 4. So tomorrow back to day 5.
And also big kudos to Kira Ackling. She wrote episode 2 and 4 for me. So this year, she's amazing.
Who is that?
Kira, she did a podcast and I can't remember what it's called, but
okay.
she's in the UK. She lives in Bath and she's the sweetest girl ever. She's very sweet, but she used to do a true crime podcast and now she doesn't do one anymore. So you don't have to put all that info.
No, I was
just make sure
wondering,
that Kira is very sweet. I love her. She's very dear girl. So thank you, Kira.
Thank you, Kira. All right, tomorrow back to day 5, which means
That's
it's my turn. Just got a doozy
It
for you,
better
of
be
course.
good.
They're all good. They're all bad, but they're good. You know what I mean?
I
All
do.
right. Until then, I hope you guys are all getting all your stuff done. Do not get stressed out because just remember, January is right around the corner and then you just have another 12 months to wait again. So there you go.
It's all good.
So until then, remember, lock your doors.
Keep passing by those open windows.
Bye-bye.
Love ya. Today's episode was researched and written by me, Jen. For more information about this episode, as well as all other sources, please check out our show notes or the podcast website at ourtruecrimepodcast.com. Our True Crime Podcast is developed and created by the hosts, Jen and Cam. Original music and audio mix of all our True Crime Podcast episodes is courtesy of Nico Vertesi from We Talk of Dreams. You can reach Nico at wetalkofdreams.com. Listener discretion is provided by Edward October from OctoberPod VHS. You can find all of his great works on YouTube. Please make sure to like and subscribe to our True Crime Podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. We can be reached on Instagram and Facebook at Our True Crime Podcast or on Twitter with the handle at Our True Crime Pod. You can also email us at ourtruecrimepodcast@gmail.com. We would also at this time like to thank our patrons. We would be so lost without you. Thank you so much. And if you would like to help support the show, you can check us out on patreon.com/Our True Crime Podcast. You can also show your support by leaving a 5-star review on Apple or simply just tell your friends about us. It's that easy. Love ya.